Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Create order in your world. Now, y'all know me, I talk about boundaries and everything. Every man has only one thing he controls in life. Only one thing, and that's himself. He don't control his woman. He don't. Now, he can make it so that she follow along of her own volition. But he really don't control her. He can use force, but he don't control her. You know, you definitely don't control your kids. They do what they want. You just got to put it in a position they don't do anything detrimental. You might be the manager or something, a business owner. You really don't control that either. You just giving people an incentive not to go against your will. But as soon as they find somebody who paying more, they out. So you definitely don't control them. You control nothing. Except yourself. So, in controlling yourself, it's up to you to set order in your world. And you got to create order. Like the very nature of man is to create order. When a man impregnates a woman, what his sperm does is create order. It brings the information to tell that egg to do what it do. Now, despite some women like talking about, well, we don't need y'all to do it. Well, maybe that was a case, maybe like millions of years ago. I have a feeling it wasn't, and I haven't found any good signs to say that, it was the case. A woman needs that from a man. That's what the sperm does. The sperm brings the information. It creates order in that egg. It creates order. It tells it, okay, this is how you gonna form and all of that. So, and on a metaphysical basis, heaven represents order and earth represents nature and more chaos. So what a man's supposed to do is bring order. Now, not necessarily, ideally to the feminine principle. Ideally. But really, before he can even do that, or bring order to outside of him, he has to have order in his world. Like any man out there, is your shit together? Now you got guys on here who want to talk about what women doing this and their nature that. Okay, fine. Let's talk about that. That's cool. And yes, you're right. But then if you look at that man's world who's talking, it's like, well, okay, you want these women to be in order, but your own shit ain't in order. Are you living an ordered life? Is your surroundings in order? Is even your place of living in order? If you got shit all strewn all over the place, or, when you do things, there's no order to it. Like the masculine energy wants structure and create structure naturally. That's why men create boundaries. That's a structure right there. Whether it's a mental structure or they have the ability to create a bigger structure. That's why, I was driving past a new development of houses near me. And it was very less than a year old. And people started moving in. And, I'm starting to see some fences. I automatically know that's a man's house. Because men don't want, a real man don't want anybody coming across their boundary. But that's an order thing. And a true man will always create order one way or the other, and that's our nature. Now it's a woman's nature to create chaos, but shoot, you still gotta bring order to something, and you start with your world, not with the women. See, a lot of guys out here asking the women to be in order. It's like you can't ask them to be in order. That's not their nature to do it. You got to put yourself in a position where there's so much order in your world for them to deal with you. They gonna have to be in order, or at least just enough if they in your presence. They probably, as soon as they walk out of your presence or out of your boundary, they gonna know. In fact, they need to know it. They need to know if they speak to you, they need to speak to you in a certain way. But they need to know they need to behave a certain way. But they cannot do those things if you out of order. If you're flaky, like I know a lot of men, they complain about flakiness from a woman. That's actually normal. They butterflies. They don't fly in a straight line. Shit, if you watch a butterfly be all over the place. And I used this example before, like of a man and a woman going to the grocery store. A man's trip might take about, let's say the place is within 5 minutes of where he lives. He's there, got his stuff, and out in 15 minutes. Because he go in, because he's straight. It's orderly. It's like, boom, get his stuff, boom, 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 go. That same a woman live 5 minutes away she might take 2 hours. Now, let's take away the stuff about a woman might be stepping out cheating. This is really just a normal thing with women. They 2 hours in the same place and actually getting the same exact stuff. They can get the exact same list. And they still gonna take about 2 hours, cause they butterflies. They gonna go in, like the man gonna go right to the item, get his stuff, and go. The woman gonna look around a bit, say, "Hold up, what's up?" Even on the way there, she might be drive past the store, say, "Oh man, they having a sale. Let me stop in real quick." But that's their nature, so you can't worry about that. But as a man, you gotta worry about your own stuff. You gotta create it. You got to create a routine. Like, it starts with just being disciplined with yourself. Like a man naturally, if he's in his natural masculine energy, he's going to have several rituals when he go up. He's going to get up around the same time. There's certain stuff he's going to do. You know, some certain stuff he got to accomplish. And really, a true man gets upset if he can't do that. Even if he don't know consciously why. But that's part of that order thing. He's gonna want stuff in a certain places. It's like the dumbest thing a woman can do. If she go in a man's place and start moving shit around, he might kill her. He might kill her. And I wish I was saying that figuratively. I wish I was saying it figuratively. Like, any women listening, if you go in a man's space, don't move shit around. Now, if you don't like it for whatever reason and y'all close enough, ask him first. And he might be amenable to it. But don't move it. Don't move it. I don't care what you think. And that's especially if you go in for the women listening, especially you go in a man's place and it's clean, it's orderly. Don't change shit around. Or don't try to change him his routine or even his life routine. That's a sense of order right there. If a man does something a certain way, some women like to come in and try to tell him, well, he should be doing this or that. Stupid as hell. Don't do that. Because the man's already created it. Now, for the men who haven't created that type of order, you need to start doing it. And you need to stick to it. And you need to stand on that principle of that order. You know, and it needs to be tight. The boundaries need to be tight. Now, if y'all notice, I've been talking a lot about boundaries, territory, stuff like that. All of that is part of that whole masculinity thing. That's just a natural masculine. And like I said before, I'm not talking directly as much about game and getting women on at least these podcasts. I still do it on my Patreon and private site and other places, but not as much. That's because what I'm finding is a lot of men aren't doing like in touch with their basic masculinity. And it's really no fault of their own. We live in a society that's doing its best to suppress that masculinity. And part of that's a political thing. The elite, they realize if you get a critical mass of men in their natural masculinity, a lot of shit they get away with will change. Because if you get a critical mass, if they feel like what's happening in the world or their worlds, their combined worlds, is out of order, their natural instinct is to straighten it out. Their natural instinct. So a lot of people in power got to check that. But you want to start, regardless of, we don't have to go deeply political or anything like that. You start, every single man got to start with himself. He got to start with the man in the mirror. Look around, just around it. Is it straight? Now, it don't have to be pristine like for the elders who remember, like Oscar Massey, Felix Unger. Oscar was just total chaos, but like Felix Unger, you don't have to be that anal, but just generally straight. You know, of course, you're going to have to clean and everything, but just generally straight. It should be that way. And that's your outer environment. But that before you even get there, your inner self, your inner person has to be in order. And that's what you should be focused on. Don't worry about all this bullshit happening out here, because the more you develop that order within yourself, the more it's going to manifest in your appearance, more it's going to manifest in your outer world. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and many blessings.